And we're back with the PCC, the Pop Culture Cosmos. Gerald Glassford, thanks so much again for watching this thing. And I wanted to go ahead and make sure with D23 in Brazil coming to be one of the major places for pop culture with the Brazilian Comic Con and now D23 Brazil, it is time to go ahead and talk about what some of the things that Marvel is up to. And after D23 Brazil, the question I'm asking is Marvel, and has Marvel regained its mojo? And is it on the rise once again? Looking forward to a brighter 2025. And are they closing out 2024 strong? We'll find out the thoughts of the great one himself. It is TJ Johnson back on the show, my friend. As always, it is our pleasure to have you on. Looking forward to hearing your wise sage thoughts on Marvel as we get into some of the highlights. I did want to go ahead and mention, if you've not seen the newest trailers for Captain America Brave New World, I still like New World Order. Yeah, I still think that's better, but that's because of my wrestling background. Brave New World,
Right.
and then also, of course, the Thunderbolts with the asterisks. Please go ahead and check out Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. But the great one is here, TJ. Welcome, my friend. I want to hear your thoughts on Agatha All Along and the thoughts on Marvel going forward with what's going on
Man.
in
Well,
2025.
first, Gerald, I appreciate you allowing me to be here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's always a pleasure when I get to speak to Double G and do our thing here. So it's been a pretty good couple. It's been a pretty good 48 hours for Marvel. 72, I mean, I guess, a week, if you will. But uh D23 actually, like, it was somewhat interesting seeing the cast of Daredevil up there. The new trailer for Captain America, I have to be honest, I didn't really have a desire to watch it. I wasn't super sold on Anthony Mackie. And I still, if I'm being honest with you, I still don't know if I'm sold on Anthony Mackie. But I tell you what, the trailer actually looked pretty darn good. It made it look a lot better than it almost gave me a little Winter Soldier vibes. I'm sure that was on purpose. They knew that's probably one of the best ones, but it definitely gave me Winter Soldier vibes. Definitely gave me a bit of a conspiracy, and I'm kind of digging that. So I definitely was not as interested prior to seeing this latest trailer, and now I'm like, okay, all right, Marvel, you might have something going. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't want the original Captain America back in some capacity. Um, so I don't want to get too excited about Anthony Mackie. There's nothing against Anthony Mackie as a person or an
Oh, you mean
actor.
one of the world's most busiest actors?
Yes, him definitely. I want him back. I do. I do. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't. But the trailer does look pretty darn good. So I have to give Marvel some credit there. And can we have a moment of silence and a round of applause at the same time for Agatha All Along? My goodness, I was not. You know how much I love WandaVision, right? We've talked about that. We've talked about it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And with this obviously being a bit of a spiritual successor to WandaVision and being, um, perfectly themed around Halloween, and obviously created some of the best little ditties you're gonna hear because my kids still like to listen to Down the Witch's Road. Uh, but it was an extremely well written show. I enjoyed the cast tremendously. I thought they all did a phenomenal job. Every cast member I thought was phenomenal in their respective roles. I really do, and it's very seldom that a show hits on all notes like that. And I really felt like it hit every note that I needed it to hit. I would probably put it behind Loki for my favorite Marvel TV shows. Loki season one and season two, honestly, being some of the best stuff on TV. But I get the All Along was really good. I'm really happy about the way it came out. Some of the other news that came out of D3 in regards to, will they, won't they, with this whole Blade movie, and now they're saying that they've taken it off the shelf or taking it off of the doc because they don't know where to put it in regards to the cinematic universe. And I don't know, man. I don't know about this whole Blade fiasco and what it is gonna do or what it isn't gonna do. Um, I'm ready for them to kind of make a decision and stick with it. But the majority of the things that I've seen at D23 were actually pretty strong. And I have to admit that I don't know if Marvel has gotten all of its mojo back. I think it's a bit premature. But I will tell you that it's garnered a little bit more interest than it has in the past, especially with the recent success of Agatha All Along and obviously announcing Vision Quest and knowing that that's coming, that should be filming shortly with Paul Bettany reprising his role as Vision and trying to see where that goes. And I think there's even the whispers of a season two of Agatha All Along. I don't know how much truth there is to that,
Well, they
but
certainly lead you to it as far
they
as the
definitely
last
do.
episode.
Yes, they do. They definitely lead you to it, or at least somehow some continuation of Agatha, be it Agatha in a movie. I'd love to see her and Wanda Maximoff play off at some point here. Don't know how truth that's gonna happen, but I tell you, it was really good watching that show, and I'm again, while I'm not getting too high on Marvel and too high on the what's to come, I was definitely pleasantly surprised over these last few weeks with Marvel. So things might be actually looking up, Gerald. I know we've talked about giving Kevin Feige a little room to screw up and right the ship or whatnot, and I feel like maybe it might be happening.
I'm going to say first, I think I've said before, must have been to Josh, that I really got those Winter Soldier vibes first time I saw it. From the first moment I saw Captain America: Brave New World, I got those vibes, and I was on right away. Uh, uh, Winter Soldier is my number one Marvel movie of all time, and I think that if it kind of comes anywhere close to it, I'll be happy camper. I am giving Manthi Mackie a chance. I know there's some people out there who are not, and I think that's unfair to him because I think he's been working really hard both on and off screen to try and be an acceptable Captain America as far as what he does and what he brings to it with his Falcon persona. And he does not have the super soldier serum in him, but he finds other ways to get the job done. I know the series didn't meet expectations as far as when him and that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier just did not really come to fruition. I think it really did not become the series that I wanted it to, and I think a lot of people also emulate that. But I really am digging where this is going for me on Captain America: Brave New World, and I'm really excited to watch, my friend. So I'll start with that, and we'll continue from there. But
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think that I would agree with you. I think people aren't really giving Anthony Mackie his just dues, and he's been in the game for a while. I mean, I remember him from 8 Mile, and he's come a long way. He's come a long way. Now, say what you will about him and his personal the way he treats people in real life. I've heard varying stories and varying degrees of jerkiness in regards to Anthony Mackie, and that may or may not be true. But as far as what he's done on screen, with his on-screen persona, I feel like he deserves a shot to be a legitimate successor to Captain America. I think I feel like the rest of the world when we just say we just really like Chris Evans and we really miss Chris Evans and we want to see him back. I want to see him back, Gerald.
I don't think you're going to see him back in Caps. I don't think unless they back up the Brinks truck like they did for RDJ. I just don't see him wanting to. He doesn't have a desire to. I mean, if you tell Johnny Storm, he'd be back in a heartbeat. But for Cap, he's had his run. He thinks he's had his run, and he's done. It's that simple. The preparation of the role. I just think it's time for he wants to move on, and he's hoping that finally at some point everybody else will move on. But I get it. Everybody wants still Chris Evans back. But yeah, just like now Hugh Jackman has wanted to move on at one point. Maybe Chris Evans will come back later on in his life to do it. Like Hugh Jackman now is planning out, I'm sure, 20 years of the Wolverine
20
at
more
this
years of
point.
Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, when he thought he was done with it. So
23.
exactly. So I don't know. At this point, I'm just going to say I'm very excited for Captain America: Brave New World. Before I get into Agatha All Along and
Mhm.
also as well the Thunderbolts, which you didn't even
Mhm.
mention, the Thunderbolts. I do want to
Yeah.
talk about Blade. I am a huge Mahershala Ali fan. I think he's really one of the better actors, if not the best actors that's out there today. I think he would play the role of Blade. I don't want to say just as good as Wesley Snipes because he did a great job, but he just seems like he would play Blade really, really well. Just seeing his demeanor, the way he acts, I think he has a great look. I think he could match very much what of course, Blade, Wesley Snipes in the first Blade. We won't talk about the second and third Blade where he was just cashing in a paycheck and pissing off Ryan Reynolds,
I
and
don't think
Jessica
that was the
Biel.
second Blade. I think the
That
third
was the
Blade, I
third.
would give you that. Yeah.
Okay, second Blade. It started to Benicio del Toro's. Yeah, kind of started going south as well. I'll just leave it at that. But again, I think Mahershala Ali should be given the opportunity, and I hope he does. I hope that he gets the chance to do so because I think he'd make for a good Blade.
I think
Getting
he
to
would
your
too. I think
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, G.
no,
I
please,
do
please.
I agree. I think he would. I just think there's a certain level of physicality that comes with that role. And I think that having not ever seen him be very physical and be in that type of environment, that type of action, action orientated role, it's just hard to see that at this stage in his life when you've never seen it before. It's a little bit different when we look at what Wesley Snipes has done and what Wesley Snipes did in Deadpool and Wolverine, right? We already know that he has the acumen and the martial arts ability to do something like that. We've never seen it out of Mahershala Ali, so it's a little bit more of a stretch now, in regards to his acting chops, we're not I'm not concerned, and I don't think there is a single person who will tell you that they're concerned with his ability to play the role from an acting standpoint, from a delivery, from a gravitas, from all of the things that go into putting on a performance. I don't think there's a single person that'll tell you that he's not capable of doing that, and then some. I mean, this guy is. It's he's incredible. Let's just leave it at that. There's nothing more that needs to be said. But in regards to his ability to hold his own in the action scene, we have yet to ever see that. So with Blade being such a physical character, um, I think that's probably a bit more where the majority of people that I've spoken to's concern lies, not so much in his ability to deliver lines, but his ability to deliver the realism in the fights that is necessary for Blade. I mean, Blade doesn't hide behind a mask, he doesn't hide behind a helmet, he doesn't hide behind. I mean, he has some shades, but that's about it. And we've seen how shoddy CG looks when done with Blade. It just doesn't come out very well. So it's very, very important that he's able to pull off the physicality of that role convincingly in a convincing manner. And that's where my biggest concern is, especially as the gentleman gets older. It's just a natural thing. You're not physically capable of doing the same things that you were, when you were younger. I know I'm suffering from that, and I think that anybody else, unless your name's LeBron James, he doesn't seem to be suffering from it. But that's another conversation for
Mhm.
another day. Um, it's just going to be interesting to see how he can do justice to that role in that regard. So yeah, and then, yeah, with
Okay.
Thunderbolts, I thought the trailer was cool, but I think the one that just really stuck out to me, unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you want to look at it, was Captain America. That trailer just it really gave me Winter Soldier vibes, even more so than the first trailer that was released for it. This is really it put it on the map for me. I wasn't too concerned at first, but now I am.
Once again, I'm on with TJ Johnson. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching this thing. Truly appreciate you. We're talking Marvel, D23 Brazil, with, of course, what we saw there as far as the stuff that they leaked out, including the trailers for both Thunderbolts and Captain America: Brave New World. I want to ask you this again. They
Mhm,
were those trailers brought two different tones.
mhm,
One was decidedly more light in tone
mhm,
than the other. And it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to get the dark tone first, as far as Captain America, a little bit more harder edged, and yet we're going to also see, as far as what comes out just a couple of months later in July, we're going to see Thunderbolts with a much decidedly lighter tone, more akin to Suicide Squad.
Mm.
Probably is what I related to. I don't know if they will try to recreate that 100%. I'm just going to say that I enjoyed both trailers. I liked the Thunderbolts. I liked what David Harbour trying to carry the entire trailer. I thought that was good. I think his Red Guardian character for me goes a long way. I think Florence Pugh, when she works in that environment, looks like she's enjoying and having a good time. So I think that's something that because I think she's going to be targeted for the future of Marvel, but whether how long she stays interested in it, we'll have to wait and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
A guy I want to talk to you about, and I sent the message to Josh after I saw the video. Walker Russell of USA, aka US Agent, and I want to ask you this on it. It's funny because I think in the 2-minute trailer that I saw, I was more impressed with his work there than at any point in time during the series of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know. I got more vibes. He seemed much more comfortable, much more personable, much more relatable. Also, as well, just seemed like he was more a fit for that role and the type of things that they want to set out for him to do and be in this environment with the Thunderbolts. So I don't want to hear your I want to hear your thoughts. You said, like I said, it was your number two of two on the hit list of trailers there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when it comes right down to it, I really think that both movies, for me, are providing a lot of positivity, and I think that when they both come out, I think both are going to come out to decidedly more positive reactions. I think a lot of people are on the fence still, like you talked about with Captain America Brave New World. But if they go Winter Soldier route on it, I think that's a wise decision. But with Thunderbolts, are they going Guardians of the Galaxy Suicide Squad? Yes, they are. It's decidedly they thought, oh, any team up like that, that's the way to go. I think so. Coming off of Captain America, which is a much different tone, I think that's the best path forward for them. But your thoughts on the Thunderbolts with the asterisks, of course.
With the asterisks, of course, that's the only way to do it. A couple points to your first point. I absolutely agree. I think Wyatt Russell looks a lot more comfortable. I think he looked a lot more comfortable at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, I'm sorry, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I think he looked a little bit more comfortable when he was finally kind of not trying to be Captain America anymore. And I think that's probably more of a kudos to the writers of that show that really kind of showed the uneasiness that he had, the awkwardness, the trying to fit into a space that was not created for him type deal.
Hmm.
He really did look like he was struggling. And it really made me believe that he was struggling. So literally that very last episode where he kind of, just was, was the US agent, right? At the very, very, very end when he had the reveal and everything. He just seemed to have a little bit more freedom to be him. And I think this trailer kind of showed the exact same thing. He's a naturally charismatic guy. I mean, his father is obviously a charismatic guy as well,
Oh
and
yeah.
an award-winning actor. So he gets it pretty honest. But I do believe that he's much more comfortable in his role because his role allows him to be. He doesn't have to struggle with living in the shadow or trying to recreate the ultimate super soldier in Steve Rogers and trying to be uh, that that person anymore. So now that he gets to really just be himself, whatever that looks like for him, he can be much more comfortable in his performance and much a bit more nuanced in his performance.
Well, I think he is someone that's going to take advantage of now of this role, this opportunity, and we'll see if again this eclectic mix type movie, as we've
Mm,
seen before, will work out. We'll obviously be comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy and both Suicide Squads
mhm.
and seeing how they fit with each other. But I do think it's a wise decision that they go light coming off of whatever happens in Captain America: Brave New World 2 months or 2.5 months prior to that. So yeah, I just think I'm glad to see that they're heading in that right direction for next year as we get more into Avengers 5 and 6, and hopefully going forward will be a lot more positive as well. But we wanted to touch on Agatha All Along. I am positive on Agatha All Along. I would have changed some of the elements of the last two episodes and swapped them. Like, for instance, the climactic battle with Death. Spoiler alert, by the way, spoiler alert. Climactic battle between Agatha and Death. I would have probably put the results of that or the battle for that on the last episode, and the foreshadowing and the flashbacks in the last episode, I probably would have put in the episode prior.
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought it was a really solid watch. It was actually surprisingly solid watch because I really didn't have much interest going in, but it kept me entertained.
Mhm.
Catherine Hahn is really comfortable and did a great, amazing job with that role.
Yes, yes, she did.
Uh, yeah, it's. I mean, she was probably one of the best parts, if not the best part of WandaVision, and it shows that she's continuing that. She thoroughly enjoys the role she's playing. She was able to, I guess, lift up and outside of Aubrey Plaza, she was able to lift up a lot of the what relative unknown actors and actresses that are part of the cast. A lot of people were not familiar with many of the cast members outside of Aubrey Plaza, so it's great
Right.
to see some actors and actresses of note. Some of them were heavily stage actors and not of some one just young man. I think he's on a popular Netflix show. So yeah, it's good to see them getting more and more into the limelight as well. But yeah, overall, again, I thought it was a really solid watch. I would still put it behind, for me, Hawkeye, Loki season
Really?
one. Oh yeah,
Really?
Hawkeye's the best. Hawkeye is the best show by far for me away on as far as TV. As far as enjoyable, thoroughly enjoyable and fun to watch, I would put
Mm-mm.
Hawkeye and in a league, in a class of its own, a tier of its own.
Really? Over Loki?
Loki season one comes the closest to it, not season two. Season two was boring and very dialogue-y and over-explanatory on its first half, and then really got good in the second half. So I will give credit on the second half of Loki. But yeah, it was really it Loki season one reminds me of why people don't sometimes watch Star Trek because it gets over talkative and over explanatory. I think what it did in its first half, but I think then after that, WandaVision is an up and down ride between good and bad episodes. But when they hit high, it really hits highs.
Mhm.
I'll give you that. I know you really love WandaVision throughout.
Mhm.
And then I
Mhm.
put Agatha right there with it. So those are the only four television. But that's the problem. There's only four Marvel television shows I can truly recommend. That's not good for all the TV shows they've already produced, my friend.
Uh, I get that. I get that. I don't think I share your same sentiment in regards to the ratings, but that's okay. That's okay. I can agree to disagree on that in regards. What I
Hmm.
can say is that I think they're at least trying to figure out what it is they're trying to do with the television series. And I think that's kind of the bigger thing is that now they're trying to say, okay, we're going to tell some of these other short stories to help us to help expand on this world, um and kind of give you a little bit of the characters that you don't know, of the characters that kind of tell stories that lead into the characters that you know. And I think they're being a bit more precise in how they do it. I think they've looked at some of the failures, the Secret Invasion failure, the flaming crash and burn of Secret Invasion. I mean, my
Hmm.
God. I think they looked at that and how they were trying to make that such a big, big piece of things and such a big, big part of how you look at some of the scenes that have happened in the past movies and you might look at them differently because you start to wonder if they're scrolls or not. I think they're smarter in bringing it down to almost a street level and just saying, okay, let's tell a much more tightly knit story, that doesn't have such an overarching. I mean, ultimately, we'll play into the overarching storytelling nature of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but is small and concise enough to where it's not as, I don't want to say not as necessary, but it's not as dedicated to feeding the huge narrative, feeding the larger narrative. Does that make sense? It's not
Yeah.
so much focused on painting bigger stories. It's like it's focused on telling us its story and its story alone. And if it happens to feed into the bigger story because of the story, then so be it. But it's not focused on just being this anecdotal part of the larger MCU.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. Like I said, we can agree to disagree on our stature, but when the misses have been more prevalent than the hits, as far as the TV shows are concerned, that's still something to be wary about. But I think heading into 2025 with Daredevil and Ironheart, and whatever it is, like you said, with that they have coming up with Vision and everything else on their slate for Disney Plus and on the movie slate, I think Marvel has a good start on 2025, my friend.
Yeah, you and I can agree on that. That's for darn sure, bro.
Absolutely. And again, I am positive on my review of Agatha All Along. Again, I really think it's a solid watch, and I think I highly encourage it. When there's only 4 Marvel shows that I can recommend,
Mhm.
what can I say? And that's definitely one of them right there. So, uh, but
Absolutely.
TJ, always great to have you here, my friend. When you return, you got to give me an update of what's going on with your video game playing. And also, is it time to finally look into a VR headset this holiday season?
I think so. I think it's time for you to, Gerald. I think there's some things that you need to try. Batman Arkham VR or Batman the Batman Arkham game is incredible. Arkham Shadows, incredible.
Hmm.
So much fun to be back in that world. We can go on and on about that, but yes, I've been telling you it's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Just
This
come on.
time? Okay. All
Just
right.
come on.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'll think about it. But as maybe the deals will roll around, maybe for Black Friday, we'll look at it. We'll see. But my gosh, what PlayStation 5 Pro coming out, that's 700, $800 right there. And then you've
Uh,
got the new PlayStation 5s and Xbox new Wave coming out for those, as far as those are a little bit pricier. And then you've got MetaQuest, PSVR 2 is still somewhere, I think.
that's
And then you
dead.
got
I wouldn't worry about it.
okay. And then you got then you got the Apple headset that's like $2 million.
That's dead
So
too. I wouldn't worry about
yeah.
that either.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But once again, it is TJ Johnson asking you out there to go ahead and get a MetaQuest 3. Hopefully,
Do it.
do it. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. Just a lot of there's always that bridge. There's always that uncomfortability for a lot of people out there getting into VR. I just putting on the headset. It's just that's a barrier for a lot of people. But again, we'll wait and see, my friend. But once again, it is TJ Johnson. You got to go ahead and catch him here every time out. Plus, I want to hear all of his thoughts next time around on the video game world, including if he's played Dragon Age,
Yep.
what is it? Thoughts on Blob 6
Yep.
and more. So, TJ, you get back on here whenever you can, my friend, right
Yes,
here at the
sir.
Pop Culture Cosmos.